Tekkit Wonderland. I can't drive well without seeing where I'm going. It is Christmas. We will drive properly now. Yeah, so this is the pathway leading up to our entrance to the thermal port. And yet another, I'd say, successful Tekkit Christmas. Of course, the entranceway looks like trash. We actually have Gunther, though, defending the entranceway. So there is that. I mean, well, this part of the entrance looks pretty nice. The Gunther part needed some work. I had the white sandstone flooring. It looked pretty good. But yeah, so Gunther lets us in. Go to this floor where we have way too much wood and sticks. I upgraded this, by the way. We have our 4 primary liquids with some other liquids here that we were selling. We of course needed to break away from just selling black sludge. I mean, it's a profitable thing, but not terribly useful. I keep forgetting to come in here and grab these, but that's not important. It still was doing what it needed to do, and I can't actually get back there right now. I mean, we can. Let's do this. There we go. I still need one more. So yeah. We got this, it powers up. Well, first we have this supplying wood to this, which then gets sent up into here, which then gets smelted into charcoal. The creosote gets sent over to the sequential fabricator. The charcoal then gets thrown into a steam dynamo, which then provides steam to another steam dynamo with a turbine conversion. This one has a boiler conversion, which then powers this, which is fully powered. And then this is just a nonsense thing that I have going on, and I didn't even have it set up properly, because this should be blue. And then it's going to now just start shipping power around in a cycle, in a circle, whatever. Yeah, and then I tried, this one has a yellow bottom, this one has a yellow top. I was hoping that maybe that would just allow them to transfer energy in between them. But I also have the water being pumped from an aqueous accumulator over to the 2 that require water. All the power back here is being used properly. I did want to actually do more with this room as far as like decoration goes and have a doorway here. Over here is where all of our machines are. We have the sawmill that was producing us resin because we have upgraded it with a resin funnel. Of course, have the glacial precipitator, an igneous extruder with a clastic deposition augment on it, just a normal redstone furnace, an induction smelter with a pyro concentrator to get us additional ores, a centrifugal separator for getting tofu, pulverizer, which we just did the tectonic initiator for so that we could get even more ores from things. Magma crucible was upgraded for the sole purpose of speed and efficiency. And then that was feeding into the fluid transposer, which we did not upgrade at all. And we have the fractionating still, producing naphtha from crude oil, getting us some tar, which tar is just used for like a weird combination of both slime and coal. And then this is basically every object that Thermal Foundation has to offer. There was a couple that we did not build. Over here we have, in my opinion, the only things that you need from this mod, actually additions. We have the what's it called? Atomic reconstructor. That's what The atomic reconstructor for the sake of turning objects into other objects. We have the empowerer to make stronger diamantine and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, honestly, this mod doesn't really have much of anything to it that you can't get in another mod that's easier to use. Like, this mod is just so much more logical and easy to follow. And it's I actually quite like these machines now that we have them. Like, for example, if we were to power this up, you'll see, like, kind of shows like wood going through a saw. This looks like a freezer. This shows like lava and water combining together. They all have like their own little animations, and it's fairly neat. If we go up to the next floor, we have not much of anything. We have all of our tree production right here, which is giving us way too much resources that we have nothing to do with. We have so much dragon fruit. Man, I wish dragon fruit was that easy to get in real life. Of course, have all of our tinkers things, which initially in a mod, you do want to go tinkers like immediately. The faster you get to tinkers, the faster you can get more ores. However, there comes a point, specifically once you get that pulverizer, that tinkers no longer becomes useful. Sure, it uses lava instead of energy, but lava is also not always easy to come by. But at the same time, when you're doing it this way, you can do a lot more at once, but you also don't get their secondary output. So, for example, every time we were putting iron ore in here, we were losing on a 10% chance to get nickel. Out here, we have an aqueous accumulator that collects water and then ships it down to the factory floor. And we have, of course, all of our stuff. That mycelium still never grew. I'm not convinced that it can. We have a horse. We have those guys, dogs. Of course, have a farming floor with one of my favorite items now is this cooking for blockheads. Cause look how you just go in here, you go, huh, we could go for some, I don't know, cinnamon toast crunch. But not really. What else would be? Croissant. Make a croissant. Cobblestone cobbler. I'm not convinced you want to eat that. Something tells me that that would not taste good. Mince pie, though. Okay, bam. We have a mince pie. Easy as that. Pretty neat. Then out here, we have our farm. One of most crops, a couple of another. Like soybeans, we found those. Lettuce, I have way too much lettuce out here. Tomatoes, peanuts, tea leaves, way too many of those items. We get up to the bed floor, we will take a quick nap. Looking out at the horizon. Which is another thing, we can go out here and look around. It's not terribly useful because it blocks about like, if you look straight, it blocks about like half of my screen. We have our terrariums of all the biomes that we have explored. And by all of them, I mean not all of them because there's no like snow terrarium or anything like that. We have found a wasteland, we went to the nether. We did not find mycelium, we just made it. I mean, we found mycelium for other things. Why am I looking over this way like I'm talking to someone behind me? Koru from the marsh, or the moor, not the marsh. Well, it might have been the marsh. This is like a dead waste. Actually, we lived in that before. Right there. That's where that one's from. That's like a desert or oasis type thing. Flax was from the boreal forest. fern also I think we got from the boreal forest. And then the pink daffodil was somewhere way to the south, like around where that armor is. Yeah, so this is we have a little loft area up here. I never did finish the bedroom here. But yeah, we'll head down to the factory floor, I guess. Yeah, and all of the wood from those things comes down here. Yeah, so overall, I'd say that this, I mean, it's hard to say because the mod that we worked on is actually a lot, like, compact, I guess is the word, than immersive was. Because, like, right, with immersive engineering, once you got to the steel production, it just slowed way down and became a lot more tedious to try to actually progress any farther into the mod. Whereas with this mod, there really wasn't ever a time that we were like, oh, we have to wait like 20 days to get like a singular item. No, I mean, this mod, mostly what our issue with it is not like automating it, right? Like, so every time like I'm like, oh, I have to take these things out myself and go do something with them, or like the pulverizer, right? Without the tectonic initiator, it doesn't matter, but like we could have been feeding the items from here into another machine, like automatically into a magma crucible. We did have the magma crucible automatically pumping out to whichever side it needed to. Blazing pyrotheum into this side, everything else into this side. Like we also needed it to be pumping any oily sand from here straight into the fractionating still. That's not something we did. Then we also needed a second fractionary still to be pumping the naphtha into, or cycling it back into itself, which wouldn't have worked if we were trying to automate things. As far as a lot of other things go, one of our biggest issues with this mod, honestly, was the fact that a lot of it seems to be just broken in 1 point whatever. What are we in? It should tell us. Minecraft 1.12.2. So that's the mod. That's the level version of Minecraft that I used. It's 1.12.2, and yeah. So if you're gonna do thermal foundation, I would suggest not doing it in 1.12.2. Mostly because if we go back to looking at thermal, we can't make any of the better cells. We can make this one, turn it into the basic energy cell, but then we don't, like, then I had to do what I did here and like connect like 3 of them together in order to have power. And now this guy's the one without the power. It seems to just kind of stop eventually. It's like, this should be outputting its power into the other one, and that one should be outputting its power into this one, which should be outputting its power. Right, so it was a circular thing. But yeah, no, see, so if we could have made a hardened cell or worked our way up to even a resonant, which we never got to, we could have actually done stuff with that, but we did not. This would have been another instance where pumping these items out would have been super useful. But at the same time, this doesn't produce fast enough for me to actually care about it. Then also we don't have anything to do with the sticks from there. So yeah, I know for a fact that in other versions you can build the resonant energy cell, but not in this version for some reason. And I don't know why, but I'm also not terribly concerned with it. I was concerned initially with how we were going to produce power, but it turns out that this setup that I have here produces power more than it uses. And so if we were to try to like truly automate this, there's no I mean, you still have to mine the resources yourself. So Unless you use another mod to get the resources that put them in here. But, yeah, other than that, there was nothing in here that gets you items. So you do have to still do it all yourself. But other than that, I mean, I like the fact that we have all these. The gelid cryotheum. We actually have the most Zephirium Aerothium? No. Aerothurge. No. Where is it? It's Zephirium Aerothium, yeah. It's gelid cryotheum. I don't know what I said. Either way, I did like this. I like that all of the items in this mod can be upgraded. Like, there's a very, like, obvious upgrade path. So, like, these are your basic ones, and you use the hardened upgrade on this, on these. We didn't get to other ones, but I bet, like, even the aqueous accumulator and all these things say basic on them. All the dynamos are basic dynamos. The reservoirs, the flux capacitors, the backpacks even. All of it is upgradable on the same, like, pathway that everything else is. The fluid ducts go the same way. The armor does not work that way because that would make no sense. Well, I mean, I guess to a degree it does. Platinum. We have platinum. I could have made. I didn't make these because once you have Tinker's items, you never need anything else. So that's the only reason that Tinker's like is still useful late game, is because you get the pick that's like ridiculous. You get wham bam, thank you ma'am, level expert, deals almost 20 attack damage. That's 20 attack damage before you include the insatiable and fractured. This thing deals 11.32, but that's again not including shocking, cold-blooded, insatiable, holy, fractured, and splintering. So that's just like its basic stuff. Like that, I think this thing one-shots skeletons and zombies. Granted, I don't think it's as good as our bow in the last series, but it's comparable, I would say. So we're going to go back down to the entryway to wrap things up for Christmas. And I did not make one for you, Gunther, so you can have this mince pie. There you go. And I don't know if you enjoy apple fritters, but have some apple fritters. Actually, you know what, Gunther probably would enjoy. Get back up here, make one for him. Gunther would probably enjoy a cobbler. Alright, Gunther, here, have a cobbler. Alright, I am going to eat a whole thankful meal. Dinner. A whole dinner. Just for me, Gunther. You have all those desserts. I mean, if you need some meat, here, have some sausage breads. I'm gonna eat a thankful dinner, though. Which has given us strength and resistance. 3 minutes. I don't know how much saturation it gives you because, like, I never found the saturation mod. But we will wrap up Christmas there. Oh, before we do that, blue fire jar and honey jar. You can't place them down. You can't place them down on that. But blue fire, you can do that with it. Oh. I'm not moving. This is going all by itself. And back into the fire, too. It is cursed. We are cursed. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so that was fun. Well, we will wrap up there, and I will probably see you guys next December when I start yet another base. But for now, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and Merry Christmas!